Welcome to HistoricHole. My name is David, and this week I'm joined by Sam.
Yo.
And this week we're going to talk Bible stories. You know, the classic stories that if you were raised in a Christian/Catholic, maybe even more so Catholic, I don't know. I don't know who appreciates the Old Testament more, Catholics or Protestants.
Maybe Protestants.
You think so?
Yeah, because I be hearing Catholics say, like, oh, yeah, you should just read the Bible from the New Testament and not the Old.
Or
like the old one is a little too
fire
much.
and brimstone for me. Yeah, I always hear that being said. He's a very fired, God in the Old Testament, very fire and brimstone. It's like, okay, yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
And, like, he's a fucking saint in, like, the New Testament.
But it's in there, though, okay? We can't just pretend it's not there.
Yeah, what are we doing here? You know, what are we doing?
Yeah.
We got to do our homework. So, no, we were talking a little bit about creation myths. Been kind of focusing on that. But I feel like, maybe give the Bible a little bit more of a, give the stories a little bit more of a look, perhaps, is the word to use. Because, yeah, we kind of glossed over a lot of it last week, but at least touched on Noah and the flood, so that was interesting. But, yeah, we're going to talk. We'll talk. I think we got lined up. The lineup for tonight is Moses versus the Pharaoh. Cain versus Abel. It's a big card, right? Yeah, this is a pretty
Jeez, are we like
pretty big card?
Showing a boxing card
right?
or
UFC. It's Dana White put this one together for us. Yeah, so the who else would be? I guess Abraham versus Isaac. That's not much of a fight. Isaac wants to die. Yeah, that's all crazy too. So anyway, before we spoil anything, let's get into it. So I don't know what's first. I mean, I guess fucking Exodus. No, Cain and Abel's first, obviously, because everyone knows Adam and Eve. They're in paradise. Snake.
Yeah.
Comes, tells them to eat the apple. They eat the apple, and God's just like, "What have you done?" And kicks them out of eternal paradise. Gives them shame. Makes them want to wear clothing, and then they age and die.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they didn't in paradise, I think they just lived forever. Anyway.
All right, so yeah, I got it right here. You want me to read it?
Cain and Abel.
You
got it lined up?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
All right. Is now Abel kept flocks, and Cain worked the soil. In the course of time, Cain brought some of the fruits of the soil as an offering to the Lord. And Abel also brought an offering, fat portions from some of the firstborn of his flock. The Lord looked with favor on Abel and his offering, but on Cain and his offering he did not look with favor. So Cain was very angry, and his face was downcast. Then the Lord said to Cain, "Why are you angry? Why is your face downcast? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it." Okay. No, yeah, this is part, okay, when Cain and Abel.
This is we're real debut into the.
Get it going. They're like, now Cain said to his brother Abel, "Let's go out to the field."
Yeah, bro, come with me real quick. Let's go out of the field. Let's take a look at this rock.
Yeah. It's like while they were in the field, Cain attacked his brother Abel and killed him. Then the Lord.
He's looking at the weird rock. He's like, bro, look at this.
Yeah. Then the Lord said to Cain.
And the Lord spake. The rock was indeed weird. Sorry.
He's like, the Lord said to Cain, "Where is your brother Abel?" And he said, "I don't know." He replied, "Am I my brother's keeper?" And the Lord said, "What have you done? Listen, your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Now you are under a curse and driven from the ground, which opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you work the ground, it will no longer yield its crops for you. You will be a restless wanderer on the earth." Cain said to the Lord, "My punishment is more than I can bear. Today you are driving me from the land, and I will be hidden from your presence. I will be a restless wanderer on the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me." But the Lord said to him, "Not so. Anyone who kills Cain will suffer vengeance 7 times over." Then the Lord put a mark on Cain so that no one who found him would kill him. Damn.
So it's a very complex thing going on here.
Dude.
Yeah. See, he's trying to be a bitch about it. He's like, yeah, I killed my brother. And he's like, well, why'd you do that? And he's like, because. And so God's like, and he's like, well, I'm just going to go fucking die then.
Yeah.
Because I can't. He's like, God's like, well, then you can't fucking farm anymore then. I'm
Wait,
taking
so you caught that, right? Like how he said that if he leaves, they might kill him and there are other people. There's other people, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
But supposedly, in the idea is that Cain and Abel were the sons of Adam and Eve, right?
Yeah.
So they were the only ones on Earth.
Yeah.
So it's like,
so what the hell?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah. So they're not the only ones.
In a literal sense, yeah. If we just take it at face value, sure. Yeah. No, it doesn't make any sense at all narratively.
Yeah.
But that's not really the point of the story, right? Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, I see what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, supposedly it's like, it's Adam and Eve, and then from then came Cain and Abel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're two sons. Maybe.
But then, then the whole world got populated. Like,
yeah, all of a sudden the world's populated.
that sounds like,
convenience, narrative convenience.
Yeah.
Yeah, the authors here were just like, we kind of wrote ourselves into a corner. We're just ignoring that. That's where the season 2 came in. And they kind of had to
might be a little incest.
Got a little bit of incest going on. And yeah, the aging, might be a little weird here. I don't know how many kids Adam and Eve actually had. Maybe we don't really know. Maybe that's how they justify it. It's like, well, the Southern preachers, well, we don't really know how many kids. Well, these are just the 2 that are mentioned. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, like.
Sure, Preacher Bob. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I think somewhere about like. I don't know. Somebody explains like Cain and Abel had sisters or whatever. It's like. People be always saying like, oh yeah, there was these girls there too, and they mingled with them, and that's how we got.
Yeah, that's it.
That's how it happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
They already had like a mess of kids before he fucking killed them. All right, sure. Let's just say it.
No, but yeah.
I don't know. Maybe so anyway, that's how that goes. That's how that cookie crumbles. And so he puts a curse on him. Mm-hmm. That a rock band would later name their band after.
The curse?
Avenged Sevenfold.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Avenged Sevenfold.
Is that what that means?
Avenged Sevenfold?
Yeah.
Yeah, when he says vengeance will be.
Oh yeah.
7 times. Yeah.
Avenged
Sevenfold.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't catch that.
Yep. Biblical reference. They actually were a Christian band before they kind of did a pivot to this sort of bad boy
satanic
image.
The complete opposite.
I don't want to say that they were satanic, but they kind of definitely leaned more into that more like douche bro metal. They were talented. I'm not taking anything away from them, but like the image that they were cultivating, it's like we're in hotel rooms with girls with tits and we got money and guitars and guns or whatever. I don't know. I can't remember if they had guns, but anyway, I'm just saying they had that kind of that bad boy rock star kind of image thing going on.
Right.
At least with City of Evil. I remember that shit. But anyway, I'm just rambling about it. Should we go on to another story? Should we tackle?
What's the other one?
What's the other one? What's the next one? I don't know who's up next. I don't know. Isaac and Abraham, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
There's Moses, too. But that's Exodus. Moses is in Exodus.
Let's do the Abraham. All right.
Abraham.
Sometime later, God tested Abraham. He said to him, Abraham, here I am, he replied. Then God said, take your son, your only son whom you love, Isaac, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain. I will show you. Early in the next morning, Abraham got up and loaded his donkey. He took with him 2 of his servants and his son Isaac. Dang, so he's following through.
Yeah, God's just like, go kill your kid, and he's like, say no more. This kid's bothering the shit out of me. I just been looking for an excuse.
Yeah.
This guy, it's kind of sus. I think his motivations here are a little. The reason he was so quick, like God mistakes it for loyalty. God's like, no, you're just like so loyal. I really dig that. You're really. No, I don't necessarily think that's what it was.
Yeah.
I'm not fully convinced personally, but continue.
Yeah, but okay. So he said, when he had cut enough wood for the burnt offering, he set out for the place God had told him about. On the third day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. He said to his servants, "Stay here with the donkey while I and the boy go over there. We will worship and then we will come back to you." Damn, so he said he's gonna go worship.
God, this is awful, dude. This is like every fucking like serial
He's like, you guys stay
story.
here. We're gonna go over there and pray.
Like, this is like those morbid fucking stories you hear about, like the kids that are like, interviewed after the fucking mom's like murdered or whatever, and they're like daddy went out, daddy and mommy left the car, and mommy never came back. It's like stay here, sir. The servants are like, yeah. What happened?
Oh god,
no, it's fine.
All right. So Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering and placed it on his son Isaac. And he himself carried the fire and the knife. As the two of them went on together, Isaac spoke up and said to his father Abraham, "Father." "Yes, my son." Abraham replied, "The fire and the wood are here." Isaac said, "But where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" So he's still asking, like, where's the lamb? Like, what are we doing up here?
Where's the lamb, Dad? This is innocent.
Yeah. Man,
where? God damn it! Yeah, he's like, all
okay.
like,
Look, he said, Abraham answered, "God Himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son." And the two of them went on together. When they reached the place God had told them about,
he's fucking lying to him too. Like that. This is everything. Sorry, continue.
All right.
We'll criticize.
Abraham built an altar there and arranged the wood on it. He bound his son Isaac and laid him on the altar on top of the wood. Then he reached out his hand and took the knife to slay his son. But the angel of the Lord called out to him from the heaven, "Abraham, Abraham." "Here I am," he replied. "Do not lay a hand on the boy," he said. "Do not do anything to him. Now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son." Abraham looked up, and there in thicket he saw a ram caught by its horns. And then he took the ram, sacrificed the ram, burnt offering instead of his son.
Yeah, see, so God, but the motherfucker was lying. He didn't know that God was actually going to provide the lamb, the lamb.
Yeah.
And so, like, but that's what God actually ends up doing. But he doesn't actually know that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and then he just says he blesses him and like makes his descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky, and like he's like,
exactly, yeah.
He rewards him. He rewards him.
Yeah, with riches beyond your wildest imagination.
Yeah. But that's crazy, man. It's like, oh, he's like, "No, just kidding. Don't kill him anymore."
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It's like, I was just checking you. I was trying to see if you
it's like
fear me. Yeah.
Yeah, real late.
Yeah.
Real late in the process.
Yeah.
Calling it off. No, but what I do think is going on there is like, so he is lying to the fucking kid all the way up there. He's like, "God will provide the lamb. God will provide." And he's like looking at the kid licking his fucking shot.
Yeah, so it's like, I guess in a way he knows it's not in a way he knows that it's not cool. Like he knows it's not cool. That's why he's not being honest with them, right? Like his dad.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And then you're not supposed to fucking lie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if so it's like, I don't know. There's just a lot wrong with it. And so, but because God provides the lamb, he actually technically didn't lie. And so that's probably the way the preacher, because like, no, that's not good.
Yeah.
It's not a good thing to do.
No, yeah. I mean, they say God is all loving and all knowing and stuff, all loving and stuff. It's like that's kind of scary. Like that's not love. Like that's
scary,
not,
dog.
That's not love. Yeah,
dog. I'm kind of scared by that shit. Like, no,
but that's why it's like sometimes I think it's like maybe it's not God. You know, maybe it's something. It's not the actual creator. Like, you know,
it was
like
aliens.
this was just another story. Yeah, that like got said like, oh yeah, it was God. You know.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. You
Yeah.
know, but like I don't know what that would be because it sounds like
Because I believe in God, dude. Don't get me wrong. You know, so yeah, so
I'm down with JC.
yeah, so I just don't think he would do that. You know, it's like be that crazy, be that like, oh yeah, if you have to fear me, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's just there's a lot going on there. Like the kid, really, you got to read the signs, bro. Like there's like yeah, where's the lamb? You know, like why am I going with you? Like, you know, he's just God.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. There's just a lot. There's a lot. You know, the kid's super naive,
Yeah.
and so yeah. I don't know. I
Yeah.
kind of feel like he almost deserves. Like he kind of, if that's your progeny, dude, that's the best you can do. I feel like you need to. Yeah, you probably should wipe the slate clean.
Yeah.
Let's start over. Back to the drawing board.
You did know, but that's the thing. That kid is gonna be traumatized from now on.
He's like lying down, and his dad takes out this knife.
Yeah,
he's
dude,
about to
it's
stab
like
him.
Now he has to live the rest of his life like, holy shit, I almost died. Like
his dad's about to kill him, and then fucking God comes out of the clouds, and then is like, no, and he's like,
oh,
dude, this kid's mind is fucking melted
it's blown,
at this
dude.
point. Like, dude, one, you just found out your dad was about to kill you, and then you find out like God's real. And he's like comes and saves
like,
your
oh
ass.
wait, what was going on? It's like, oh, you have something to do with this?
He's like, wait, what? You fucking told this guy? What sick game were you playing? Isaac, yeah, just figures it out.
Yeah.
At the wrong moment. This is like getting tied up. He's like still going with it, just like, what are you doing? He's like, Dad's like, oh, he's providing the lamb, I swear. Like, all right. Anyway,
I just need to test the wood.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is some good dry wood here.
Yeah.
This bird set you on fire, right? So how does he sacrifice? He's got the knife. So yeah, that's what I don't get either. Why do we gotta sacrifice like anything?
Right?
Like, why does God require like a?
Why does he want
a
death?
ram? Like,
yeah. Why does he want our blood?
Why does he want blood? Why does God want blood? Why is that such a thing?
Yeah.
I think it's maybe because it comes from inside of us, and so it's like ancient people were probably just like, well, that's valuable, and so God wants it. And that's what makes. And when we lose it, we die.
Or there was just
I don't know.
Psychopathic aliens
Or
that wanted humans' bloods.
Give me the blood.
That like to see them kill each other. Just like, yeah.
Man. All right.
What was
so
the
what's
other one?
the next
The Babel?
There's Tower of Babel. We also got Exodus. We also got Jews and Israelites. Moses. And the Jews.
Here it is. This was interesting, dude. It's like supposedly how we all like became different, like human beings, you know?
Different words, different languages.
Yeah, see,
different
look,
things.
okay. Now the whole world had one language and a common speech. As people moved eastward, they found a plain in Shinar and settled there. They said to each other, "Come, let's make bricks and bake them thoroughly." They used brick instead of stone and tar for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves and not be scattered over the face of the whole earth." But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower that they were building. The Lord said, "If as one people speak in the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language so they will not understand each other." So the Lord scattered them from there over over all the earth, and they stopped building the city. That is why it was called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of the whole world, from where the Lord scattered them over the face of the whole earth.
Yeah. He's like, you're gonna make it hard. God's just like, I'm making it difficult, all right?
Yeah.
He's a micromanager.
Yeah.
He's like fucking shit up.
Dude.
Like, God damn it.
So yeah, he saw them building this big ass thing, a tower, and he was like, holy shit, like these guys are getting too smart out here. They're thinking they're gods over here.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they're like,
gotta confuse this.
We gotta
the CIA.
We gotta tell them to chill out. Like we're gonna have to find a way to split them up and not be united.
Yeah, God, he's like God's like the CIA in like the 60s in like South and Central America. He's just like, thwarting the communist revolutions. He's just like, no, these guys are getting too powerful.
Right.
We're gonna confuse them all. We're gonna get them all like fighting each other. Like, that's why you got like all the revolutionaries like fighting each other essentially.
Yeah.
You have like those counter revolutionaries and shit. Yeah. That's what he was doing. He was pulling a good old us.
Yeah. I guess at that time we
Alan Dulles.
At the time we were all the same. I guess like we all spoke the same and looked the same, whatever. Right?
Yeah. That's what you're saying. Yeah, we all could communicate with each other.
Yeah.
And we all.
That'd be crazy. What if we could? Like that would be crazy, right? If we all had the same language.
Have you seen Arrival?
Nah. What is it?
You haven't seen Arrival?
What is that? No.
It's Denis Villeneuve, the guy who made Dune.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he made a movie called Arrival. And it's about language.
Mm-hmm.
And it's aliens come to Earth as Arrival. Like aliens arrive, and they're communicating with us in this language. And that's all I'm really gonna say about it. But the movie's about us translating the language. And figuring out.
I think I heard about it. Yeah, I think I saw
it's fucking
a
awesome,
trailer.
man.
Yeah.
It's
but I never saw
movie.
it. Yeah, I never saw it.
Yeah, fucking definitely watch it. It's so good. But like, and that's. I think maybe part of that it's like kind of touching on because. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to spoil the fucking movie because there's a lot of stuff in there. But anyway, it's kind of relevant to that topic of like, the separation of everybody through language and and so anyway, Tower of Babel. That's
it must have been a pretty crazy tower, right?
It's freaked God the fuck out. He was like, "What the what the fuck is
holy
this?
Shit! This is almost like up to the." Fucking
he caused God to invent the heart attack gun. Like, all right, I'm like,
shit's about to hit space.
God started selling crack in the ghetto. Like he turned into CIA over this shit.
Right?
Yeah. It's like I'm fucking shit up. I'm confusing these motherfuckers.
Yeah. I think I did see a place where supposedly they think that it's where it was. Like, but only the bottom is left. Like there's like a base.
Oh, the actual tower.
It's supposedly called a ziggurat or something like that. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe.
I mean,
there's no way of really.
It's history.
Those questions. Yeah.
Might be it's history, right?
Yeah. It's just sometimes there's no way of really answering some of those questions.
Well, yeah.
I mean?
No real way to really know, like for sure, but But I mean, there's always those, people that are like, it kind of theories, theories and
kind of matches up. Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of things that, But anyway, that's I always at least try because it's just kind of the way I am and just the way I'm trained. The way my training is I just try to tend to be a little bit more on the skeptical side, but I try not to be on the lazy skeptical side where I'm just like, okay, well, just rely on whatever is currently in existence. Because I think everything you need to be skeptical of everything. You know what I mean? So it's like people are very skeptical of mainstream opinions, right? And so they'll be more on the fringe. And they might have like more conspiracy driven opinions about things, right? And so I think you should be skeptical of those people, right? That are more of conspiracy minds, right? Because some of those people will soak up anything and really attach themselves to a lot of things that may not have a lot of merit to them. Other side of that, there's a lot of people who are in established positions in like institutions, historical institutions, whatever, and in positions of authority that kind of control the narrative, so to speak, of history and things like that. And I think you should be skeptical of them too, because they're in positions of power and authority. Like they probably deserve more skepticism than the people on the fringe and conspiracy side, because oftentimes they don't really have too much power in terms of controlling stuff.
The thing is that the newer discoveries kind of mess with the mainstream that's already there, like the narrative.
Yeah.
So that's why it's not as accepted from this group than from the guys who are actually over here like theorizing and theories and all that shit. Like, so there still has to be like a sort of acceptance to be like, okay, well, let's start, finding like figuring out what these new discoveries mean or whatever, like.
A lot of the fields are kind of consensus driven. You know what I mean? It's just like there are a lot of areas in these fields though that are in dispute. That history isn't just like some big right? Like there's not a big same story. It's like there's different parts of it that are it's all put together by people that have specialties in different periods because they look at those texts deeply. Maybe they're specialized in a language that was spoken at a certain time. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so like they can read the actual fucking things that people wrote from back then, right? So it's like, and you need to rely on these people for that information.
Yeah.
Because not everybody can read that shit and things like that. So, but even from there, stuff that we can read, history is an art of interpretation. Mm-hmm. So it's an interpretation basically of, what history is, the study of history is interpreting what people have written and what people record. And you have to interpret it through the lens like of the time. You have to take their biases into account. You have to take into account, the context of what they're saying. Because so many people oftentimes will take historical texts, remove context from them, and then use that as evidence of X, Y, or Z. But ignoring the context, then you're not going to get people on your side because people are educated in this stuff are going to point out the context. You're like, well, see here, that is why your theory doesn't make sense. And then people will be like, well, you're not taking me seriously. And it's like, no, it's just that you're ignoring evidence to the contrary of what you believe, right? Now that goes for a lot of people, because there's people, again, like we were saying, in positions of authority that have theories that establish that new stuff comes to the light that will challenge, and they've built their entire career on this stuff, right? They've worked all this time building their name and their credibility up on something that's turns out to be wrong. They're going to defend that. Their ego comes into play, and then it's like sometimes it becomes a battle of that, where it's not even about the facts anymore. It's about people's egos and legacies and, and so, like you got to watch out for that shit. Because, and that happens on a lot of places. It happens on both sides of this. But people in authority, I do think deserve scrutiny. I don't try and shield them from that, but I also too just don't take every, conspiracy hook, line, and sinker. Like, okay, I run with that because like, yeah, I just want to make sure. I usually like to just ask questions about shit and make sure that what I'm aligning with or what I'm going with is like valid or has some backing or somebody can at least answer the maybe some obvious questions about it, right?
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, but a lot of times, if you really focus in on this stuff, like you connect the dots and you're like, you've heard this here and you've heard the same thing over here and you heard the same or similar stuff over here. So then you're like, oh shit, like, okay, there's something here, like,
Well, it's like with the CIA.
Good amount of people are talking about it. Good amount of people are talking about it and believe the same thing.
Yeah. And also it's like with the CIA, right? Like the whole theory that like the CIA like killed Kennedy or like the CIA, has, did all the, the things I pointed out earlier, like, the sort of like the whole thing with you fucking around in South and Central America in the 60s and 70s and with thwarting the communist revolutionaries, stuff like that. all of that came to light. That's real stuff. Like, that's actual shit that happened. Now, the shit that with the Kennedy, like, being shot, like, that's, like, we don't actually know that. But, like, there's tons of things to suggest, that people maybe adjacent, to them, the agency, because a lot of what the CIA is.
Did you hear that there was the doctor, the first clip of that shooting was, like, not real?
What? Was
edited? Like, the first video of him getting shot?
Which one?
The one that they, like, put out.
The Zapruder film?
Huh?
The Zapruder film?
What do you mean?
That's the video, the film of John F. Kennedy being assassinated. It's called the Zapruder film.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. You're saying that's doctored?
Yeah. Supposedly the first one was, and then there's another one that was a real one, and, like, it shows that the
different frames, you're saying?
No, it was just edited because supposedly one of the trees was, like, cut in half, and it was just, like, there's something off about it. And then supposedly, the second one, I guess, showed that the driver killed him.
Yeah, no, Zapruder film, I mean, this is, like, was studied, this was the evidence, of the crime, and, like, this was studied so extensively. Like, if you look at, like, there's two, there's the Warren Commission, and then there's the House Select Committee on Assassinations, and that investigation, like, I mean, they're real detailed in breaking down frame by frame what's happening in the video, in the film, and it's like by the film frame, like frame 128.
So what do they say will happen?
I mean, this the consensus, the official consensus story is that Oswald killed Kennedy.
Yeah. But now I think there was another series that came out that's saying that it was the driver.
I mean, there's any number of fucking theories, dude. I mean, I don't.
No, it was a series on Netflix, and it was like I forgot who is it, but yeah,
it's
it was
a
like
fictional
No, it was like a whole documentary about that. Yeah, on Netflix.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's any number of fucking theories, dude. I mean, the grassy knoll, that was a big one. I mean, the Kennedy. But so anyway, the point being, it's like this, it's easy enough to, like, blame, the CIA, because their whole thing is, like, their fucking whole thing is confusion and obfuscation. Like, their whole thing is just like, they're not going to answer any question directly, because the whole thing is, like, they weren't there. Like, the whole point of the CIA, this is what people kind of don't get about it. It's like, it's not like the FBI or like the ATF. They're not like a fucking law enforcement agency. What they are is they're, like, basically the people that go and just fucking do the illegal stuff that the U.S. government just can't be seen doing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And that's why they obfuscate and cover everything up, is because they're never going to admit to it. You're never going to, like, catch them being like, oh yeah, we did that.
Yeah.
Or, owning up to shit. Because why would they? Like, that's not the point of them, is to admit to anything. But anyway, yeah, it's like, they're just so shady, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I don't think they're all. That's the thing. I don't think they're all bad. Like, there's good and bad. Working in those agencies and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they
good and bad people.
There's analysts that are doing work within the agencies that are, they're fine. But, like, the people that are sort of directing these, like, operations that, that one, like, like, actually hurt, because, like, you think about, like, these communist revolutions where, like, yeah, the CIA were thwarting these things, in favor of dictators. You know what I mean? It's like people were being crushed under the boot of dictatorships, and we're rising up against them, under the, with the backing of, and people, they were afraid of communism. You know what I mean? It was like they used the Red Scare to, squash these. And I'm not saying, like, I'm a fucking communist, but I'm saying it's like the will of the people should matter in these countries. Like, if that's what the people wanted,
Yeah.
And there's a fucking dictator that's fucking just a corrupt, capitalist, that, is keeping it, because that's what a lot of the times it was just crony capitalism, where it was like you had a dictator and his friends were all just taking money and getting rich. Well, these people were in poverty, starving in South and Central America under these dictators. And so, you have communist revolutionaries being like, fuck that shit. We need to fucking oust them and we can build a better society. And they would try and do that. Yeah. And I'm not saying that they would have been successful, their version of society would have worked, but it's just like they didn't even give them a fucking chance. You know what I mean? Yeah. They just fucking let these things fucking fall apart. You see what happens with Cuba, you know what I mean? It's like Cuba was like the one place where it was like fucking successful basically, and it just kind of turned into another fucking offshoot of the same thing. Yeah, it's like that's what it.
What's the opposite of communist?
As opposite of communist would
like the complete opposite
would. I don't know. I mean, communist,
socialist. No, right?
It just depends because how people define it. Because communism is supposed to be, by its definition, stateless. So in theory, the opposite of communism would be like extreme nationalist, like a nation, a state. You know what I mean? A country. Because communism is supposed to be stateless. It's supposed to be there is no actual government. We all work and live together and do for each other what we need to serve. To
what? Which one?
Communism.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the theory.
Yeah.
Is stateless.
Yeah.
It means there's no government.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's communism in theory. Now, in order to implement communism, you would fucking need a state, and that's why that doesn't work in practice.
Yeah.
Because you can't just...
Yeah.
People aren't just going to do shit out of the goodwill of their hearts.
Yeah, because there's countries that's gone from communist to complete opposite, right? Like, there's countries that have done that. Like...
Yeah, I mean, you can go back and forth. There's countries that have.
No, but it's crazy how that happens. Like, a country could be all like communist and then eventually get good and then
it's usually just
go back and yeah.
It's usually economic stress that forces it one way or another.
Yeah.
It's just usually what it is. And it doesn't really matter what the alternative is.
Or like society collapses.
Yeah, it's just communism, capitalism. It doesn't matter what it is. If people are stressed economically, people are going to want to change an economic change to the system, right? So they're going to be like, we want a fucking new system. This isn't working.
Yeah. And
so it's like, that's kind of what happens in either scenario.
No, yeah, that's the thing, that people would eventually they would rather have a king. Like once they found someone that they like, they would rather keep him. I feel like it might get to a point where people are so desperate, like, oh man, like all leaders have sucked, and then they find one good one. They're like, oh well, we'd rather just keep him forever, and like just for our society to be good, you know?
Yeah.
Like if society ever becomes desperate, like oh shit, like we've just had worse presidents after presidents, and it's like, then we find one good one, and it's like, no, we're keeping him, like he's our king now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what kind of ends up happening is when people get stressed.
And then eventually the kings overuse their powers and it goes back to fucking like the worst. That's the thing.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like, so yeah, you really like this one guy, right?
Yeah, the first king is always nice. Yeah.
We're going to give this guy all these powers to do all this good stuff. And then you give him the powers and he does all this great stuff. Oh, wow. He uses power so responsibly and he's so great. And then the next guy is the worst guy possible and he has access to all the same power.
Yeah.
And then he fucking fucks everybody because he can. You granted the power to that position because it's not really the person, it's the position, Yeah. So that's why that's what the people that founded the US understood is it's not the person, it's the position. So
then they got to overthrow him or leave him.
That's why our system has stood the test of time is because the positions are limited in scope in what they can do.
Yeah.
That's why the president, the executive branch is really powerful now. It's like super powerful compared to the original idea behind it.
Yeah.
But
do you think we'll ever find a dude that's like, we're like, oh yeah, this guy actually gives a fuck about us. Like we should just keep him.
No, dude, we should never ever fucking do that. Like that would be the worst thing possible. because one guy is like really not going to be able to do too much. Just the way our system is designed.
But what if it gets so bad?
You have to work with Congress. You have to work with the judicial branch. Like there's too many other factors.
Yeah.
It basically is like, unless you remove those things, which I mean is a really, really bad idea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, there's
we got it good right now, but like
there's a reason why our system.
I just don't want us to get too desperate or too like, oh shit, like.
Well, that's the thing. It's just like that desperation.
Or the economy just fucking collapses, or
desperation is a tool too.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the government uses that. The government knows how people fucking reacts to shit. We're about 40 minutes in. Do we want to do one more? Do we want to do the Bible?
Which one?
The Exodus. Do we want to do the Jews, Moses, and the Israelites?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty much saying they left, right?
Yeah, pretty much. It was just like, they got the fuck out of here. But it seemed like that was pretty uneventful. Moses goes to Mount Horeb, where Yahweh appears in a burning bush and commands him to go to Egypt to free the Hebrew slaves and bring them to the promised land in Canaan, which I think is what you were talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yahweh also speaks to Moses' brother Aaron. They both assemble the Israelites and perform signs so that they believe in Yahweh's promise. Moses and Aaron then go to the Pharaoh and ask him to let the Israelites go into the desert for a religious festival, but the Pharaoh refuses. He commands the Israelites to make bricks without straw and increases their workload. God, what a fucking dick. This Pharaoh. What a dickhead. All right, Moses and Abraham return to the Pharaoh and this time ask him to free the Israelites. The Pharaoh demands for Moses to perform a miracle, and Aaron throws down Moses' staff, which turns into a tannin, sea monster, or a snake. However, Pharaoh's magicians are also able to do this, though Moses' staff devours the others. The Pharaoh then refuses to let the Israelites go. So even turning a fucking staff into a snake, the Pharaoh was still just like, nah, fuck you, dude. And he's like, nah, bro. Not happening. You think that impresses me? You think your fucking snake staff impresses me, bro? Like, get the fuck out of here. It's like my boys can do that shit too. You think that's hard? Think it's hard? Look,
yeah.
It's like hit him with it.
Yeah.
Ezekiel. Hit him with the snake.
Yeah.
Slap him with it. After this, Yahweh begins inflicting the plagues of Egypt on the Egyptians. Oh, you remember the plagues?
Ooh.
For each time that Moses goes to the Pharaoh and the Pharaoh refuses. Pharaoh's magicians are able to replicate the first plagues, in which Yahweh turns the Nile to blood and produces a plague of frogs.
Ooh.
Dude, that's crazy. Imagine the whole Nile.
I saw that in the movie of the Prince of Egypt. You seen that?
The Prince of Egypt?
That old movie, that cartoon movie?
Yeah. Exactly. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm pretty sure that's about this.
Wait, so why did he do that?
Why did who do that?
God or
Yahweh do that?
Yahweh do that? Yeah.
God, yeah.
Yahweh?
Yeah. He did that because he won't let him go. Pharaoh won't let him go, so he's releasing plagues. He's just like,
he won't let who go?
The Israelites.
Oh, okay.
He won't let the Jews go. Pharaoh's keeping the Jews slaves. So he's keeping them enslaved.
All right.
So, it turns the bottle of blood, but they're unable to reproduce any plagues, starting with the third plague of gnats. After each plague, Pharaoh allows the Israelites to go worship Yahweh to remove the plague, then refuses to release them. So basically, he just like edges Yahweh until he leaves them alone.
Yeah.
But he edges releasing them, but doesn't actually release them. Moses is then commanded to fix the first month of Aviv at the head of the Hebrew calendar. He instructs the Israelites to take a lamb on the 10th day of the month, slaughter it on the 4th. What is with the fucking these motherfuckers and the lamb killing? God damn.
Like all this animal abuse.
Like why lambs too? Like they're the cutest fucking things. Like what is wrong with you? Like this thing is adorable. Have you seen a lamb?
Yeah.
Like on like Instagram reels, like prancing around in like a field, and like that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing that you all decide is like, oh God wants that. It's like God wants us to kill.
No, but religion has been like the biggest like animal killer in history,
yeah,
dude.
Know, right? It's responsible for
crazy.
so much animal killing.
It's crazy. Like, why are we killing innocents?
And like calves and cattle, and it's just like it's like innocent things.
Yeah,
the virgin blood.
God damn.
It's just like
makes me want to go vegan. Like
it's psychopath, dude. It's psychopath behavior.
Makes me want to go vegetarian.
I'm sorry if you like wiping blood on doors. Yeah, it's like the Passover thing here. It's like you're supposed to take a lamb on the 10th, the day of the month, slaughter on the 14th, and dab its blood on their doorposts and lintels, and observe the Passover meal the night of the full moon. So yeah, that was the lamb thing. Again, they put the fucking shit on their door. You know, it's like what the fuck, man. Like.
Yeah. So
in the final plague, Yahweh kills all the firstborn sons of Egypt and the firstborn cattle. Like, why did the cattle do? What did they do? What did the cattle do to anybody? Why are we going after the cows? Leave the cows alone, God. The fuck, bro?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing here? All right, but the Israelites with blood on their doorposts are spared. They knew. Yahweh commands that the Israelites observe a festival as a perpetual ordinance to remember the event. Yeah, like, you all better keep doing this shit every year. Fuck those lambs up. Okay.
Jeez, man, it's like those red cows that they're trying to sacrifice now, right?
Who's sacrificing?
In Israel.
They're sacrificing cows in Israel?
Yeah, they want to sacrifice the red heifer, dude. You didn't hear about that?
The red heifer.
The red heifer.
The red heifer.
You didn't hear about that?
No, I've not been keeping up with the red heifer.
Dude, it's like a whole prophecy they believe. Like, yeah, dude, this is what's going to bring back the Messiah. If I kill this red cow.
It's always some shit like that. It's like
yeah,
cow
it's
or
crazy,
a lamb,
dude.
or it's just like, God damn
and
it,
you know,
guys.
they have to find the specific red cow. They're like, yeah, this has to be completely red. Nothing else.
They just
like pure
find it and kill
red.
it. And nothing happens. They're like, all right, it was the wrong cow.
And then they found
the right cow.
They found him in Texas. I think they found.
Really?
Yeah, they were like they had to come all the way here to Texas. Like, yeah, we got him over here.
The Jewish cow is in Texas. All right, cool.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, fucking animal sacrificing, man.
So Pharaoh finally casts the Israelites out of Egypt after his firstborn son is killed. So finally, the Pharaoh's just like, all right, you took my boy. That's it. I'm done. I've had enough. You've raked me over the coals enough, God. Yahweh leads the Israelites into the form of a pillar of cloud in the day and a pillar of fire at night. However, once the Israelites have left, Yahweh hardens Pharaoh's heart. Pharaoh then changes his mind and pursues the Israelites to the shore of the Red Sea.
Oh,
Moses
he follows him?
Yeah, but he changes his mind.
He's like, yo.
He lets him go. Like, he's finally just like, fuck it. Like, he's holding his body of his son. He's just like, fucking go.
Oh, but that's the thing.
Just go. And then after they're gone, he's just like, wait a second.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
No. But that's the theory. That's because he took the ark, and so he's found out, and he was like, yo, they took it. Let's go get him.
All right.
Yeah.
So it was like Ocean's 11. It was Ocean's 1.
Yeah, dude. They stole the source. Like,
it was the first ocean.
Yeah, they stole the source of their power.
Red Sea 11. I don't know. Moses 11. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I got it. I'm just keep going with it.
Yeah, keep going. Yeah,
keep going. I was just say how many we come up with.
Yeah.
No, but you're right. Like, yeah, that's so. All of a sudden, he's just like, yeah, go, like, just fucking leave, and they all leave on the innocent terms, and then he goes, checks the treasury or whatever, the room.
Yeah, it's like,
all
wait,
his treasures, and the fucking covenant's gone. He's like, fuck.
It's like they fucking took it.
Go after him.
Yeah.
Rally the troops. We're going after
the chariots. What does it say? Does it say that he took like chariots and shit? Right?
Let's see.
Oh yeah. Yeah, check that.
Hardens Pharaoh if it changes his mind, pursues the Israelites to the shore of the Red Sea. Moses uses his staff to part the Red Sea, and the Israelites cross on dry ground. But the sea closes down on the pursuing Egyptians, drowning them all. Dude, that's so, like, isn't that so fucking badass?
Yeah. They drowned.
Moses parts the fucking sea. Dude, imagine that shit. Like, so for all the Israelites that are like maybe on the fence at that point, you know what I mean? Maybe just kind of going along with the herd.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, like I'm not quite so sure about this Moses guy, you know, and this all this prophecies. Like, yeah, okay, the plagues, sure, but that all could just be a coincidence, okay? You know, there's just on the fence about this. You see that shit happen. Like Moses just like fucking just like fucking blasts a sea like open.
Oh look, yeah,
Dude.
but look, he says, look, he took 600 of the best chariots along with all the other chariots of Egypt, with officers all over them, over all of them. The Lord hardened the heart of the Pharaoh, king of Egypt, so that he pursued the Israelites who were marching out boldly. The Egyptians and all the Pharaoh horses, chariots, horsemen, and troops pursued the Israelites and overtook them as they camped by the sea near Hahiroth, opposite Baal-Zephon.
We don't do
dude, but he took a whole army like to go after them.
Yeah, no, exactly. He like took
so
them all.
So he they must have had something or there had to have been a reason why they would go after them like that. You know?
Right. Bring all. So,
Yeah.
but says so you know, at that point, like, but that's what I'm saying. So like, even your most fucking skeptical Israelite at this point, like the sea fucking explodes open and like you know like the miracle like you just witnessed in like saving your ass like from the pursuing Egyptians, like I think at that point you're pretty much converted. You become a hardliner. I don't think you can just deny that one and be like, oh, okay, well that was just like a coincidence. Like,
but then there's but see, they say the ark was supposedly a type of technology, and that's why what he used to part the sea.
Okay, I don't know. Like,
that's I've heard that, like,
what technology, like the sea parting technology, the ancient sea parting technology.
No, like it was ancient, it was alien technology, dude. It was like advanced technology.
And so how does he know how to use it? And what?
Because he knew how to use it. He just. I mean, they knew about that shit back then. Like, if it was the time of the pyramids, dude. Like,
it's just
if they had some sort of technology.
It's like a great movie narrative, though. You know what I mean? Like, that's.
Yeah, but it's the ancient alien theory, bro. It's the advanced theory, bro. That they had.
But like, you know what I'm saying? Like that, like it makes way more sense that like it's just God. I'm just kidding.
Does it? That's what I'm saying. Like, does it though?
No, I mean,
like it's because you got to think
probably not, but like it's just
because
like,
you got to think.
Either way, you're kind of taking some pretty big leaps.
I know, I'm taking big leaps, but I've heard this. It's like from a bunch of sources. Like, you know, it's like, well, not a bunch, but like, you know, a few people that I've heard that like it's like
no, I get what you're saying, but like
No, and then that supposedly Moses was also like a pharaoh, like he could have been a pharaoh, and then like this other guy, basically rushed him out. He like rushed him out of Egypt, like because they didn't want him anymore. Like, you know, he overpowered him, took his place.
Yeah, and you know, I'm not, this is just like, this is a story, you know. It's like I don't even know. Like,
but I'm just telling you what I've heard, like people like
trying to make it make
their
sense.
Interpretation, and like kind of figure out like, okay, like this kind of relates. Like Moses kind of sounds like he's this guy.
Like, remove the supernatural aspect of it. How do we make this make sense in like reality?
That's what I'm saying.
I get
like
what you're saying.
Yeah,
and so in that sense, like, you know.
Yeah, it's because you got sometimes you know, it's because you got to start thinking a little more logically. Like we're not like before where like we believe in the fairy tales and stuff like that. Like,
oh, I mean, because like it was just, you know,
like I think,
you know, back then you didn't have anything to go on. You know, it's like it took.
Yeah,
so
but I think now in
our
generation, like we're smart enough to be like, okay, what really happened here? Like,
you know, I think our generation, it's really unfortunate the access to information that we have that people really don't take advantage of. You know what I mean? And the stuff that they do choose to focus on, you know what I mean? Because, like, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of sensational, fun stuff. But, like, really, like, there is plenty of interesting stuff with, you know, without getting into, like, the conspiracy, necessarily into that kind of more fringe, like, conspiracy stuff.
Yeah, but I kind of just like to be open-minded like that, I guess.
Yeah, no. Like I'm just like saying like the there's plenty of areas within history that are just already there's already questions around these things.
Yeah.
That you don't even need to be like a conspiracy theorist to be asking those, because like there's just it's just weird, or it's just really odd, and sure you can, and there's explanations you can come up with, and you can extrapolate certain things based, and but like again at the end of the day your theory is a theory, and like if it's based on good valid data and information, then but again, it's consensus based, because like a lot of the times when it comes to historical stuff, what the fringe people are going to do is they're going to take some, again, like, because it's interpretation, that's the wiggle room that you get with history. Now again, this is what's different from science. The science operates on data and numbers, and so mathematics, right? Like if 2 + 2 = 4, you know what I mean? There's no disputing that.
Well, now physics is changing, bro.
Okay, but you know what I mean? The 2 + 2 = 4. So like, that's math.
Yeah.
That's what you learn. Like it's not 2 + 2 doesn't equal 5. 2 + 2 = 4. So it's like, it's concrete. And so science, what science works on is
does
like
1 × 1 really equal 2? I mean 1.
1 × 1. Yeah. Well, it's 1 time, so it's 1.
But 1 × 1.
One is 1.
It's
1.
Yeah.
So the but it's versus. So what I'm saying though, like that is concrete versus interpretation. We can, both of us can look at something. Our interpretation of a phrase or a sentence can be totally different based on our experience of the world. And our understanding of language and context of certain things. So it's like that is the wiggle room that you get with history. So it's like people can be like, I study history. It's like that could mean all sorts of fucking things. But at the end of the day, the art that you learn is interpretation. What I learned in college is interpretation of documents. So what I have to do is go look at sources. So for some projects and papers and stuff that I wrote, it's like what I would do is I would go to like the Library of Virginia or some shit and like pull up sources, like microfilm. And like be on fucking microfilm. I'd be like looking at newspapers from like the fucking like 20s and shit. Like for a project, like about some fucking historical figure or something. And so like, like that's, to do my work right, I have to go read what people back then were writing and saying. And then understanding how those people thought about the things at the time and their attitudes and ideological viewpoint, understand what they're saying. And yeah, so it's like, and that's what you learn how to do. And some people don't do that legwork, you know what I mean? When it comes to history, it's like, is there context?
Yeah.
And there's legwork. There's things that you have to do to understand, even to get to the core point. It's like there's, again, like with anything, with math, right? If you're going to start, you got to start at the core building blocks and build up to fucking trigonometry and calculus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that all that's based, everything in math is based upon the previous thing. You know what I mean? Like, and when you take math classes, how everything it kind of progresses. Like, you learn all the basic math, and and you learn how to like do division, and you do addition and subtraction, and then those things load into multiplication and division, and like everything builds upon itself. You know what I mean?
Yep. So
it's like that's with history is kind of the same thing. It's like you kind of have to build up these sort of like tools and contexts to really do this, to do it seriously. You know what I mean? Like there's plenty of entertaining things to do out there, and plenty of fun stuff to do. But like, if we're like, that's what I'm saying though, is also too, it's like, a lot of that really entertaining stuff that gets like a lot of attention sometimes is like, I'm like, that stuff's interesting and that's fun, and like I don't take anything away from that. But there's stuff that like within, it just takes time to understand. But like once you get there, it's like really fascinating questions and things that are in dispute that like we don't fully understand about history, and like the past, and there are gaps in certain things, and just like they were just like not sure how people did certain things.
Yeah,
and
you take a new perspective.
There's just different theories on it, but like when it comes to certain things, it's like there's just a lack of information and a lack of sources, and it's like we can't make any meaningful conclusions from the existing information. So that because of those gaps, that leaves room for people to sort of fill it in with.
No, but you don't think there is new information coming out?
There's always new information coming out. But what I'm saying is there's tons of gaps, and even new information that's coming, it doesn't fill in all those gaps by any stretch.
I mean, it might if you actually research it. Like
no, not at all. Like there's so many gaps in history. Like I'm not even joking. Like that we don't even like.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, we're not gonna get down to the specific. But
so like,
but I mean, like a lot of it is recorded. I mean, written and.
We write a ton of stuff down, but we really don't know a lot. Actually, know a lot, and that's what I'm saying. It's just like when if you actually get into history, actually get down to the nitty gritty of the study of it, you really realize, oh shit, we actually really don't know a whole lot. We make a lot of conclusions. We derive a lot of conclusions from sources.
But that's why it's fun to say certain things.
Don't really know a whole lot about.
But that's why it's nice to say to bring out new perspectives. That's
sure.
Yeah.
But the thing is we got to parse that stuff because there's, again, tons of people that are going to try and say with certainty in those gaps, try and fill in those gaps with certainty. And it's like, no, that's not a certain conclusion there because we don't actually know.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And that's what I always defend is like, if we don't actually know, you can't say anything with certainty. That's only what I argue.
Yeah. No, but we're not saying anything with certainty. We're just saying, like, what you kind of, how do you think about it or something, your perspective or what you've heard or whatever,
Yeah, there's a lot of people, though, out there that do say things with certainty with regard to history and those gaps and these things because, again, it's sensationalist. It's sensationalist a lot of the times and usually is misleading, and it's meant to, and because people do it with religious stuff. I mean, again, it's like people do the whole thing with the Earth being 6,000 years old. Fundamentalist Christianity. Yeah, it's the same thing. That's what that is. That's trying to fill in the gaps that we don't know. Yeah, and it's like no. People.
But I think the more we evolve as humans, we'll slowly find the truth. Like eventually we'll get to the truth.
I mean, hopefully, it's like we do learn more and more about it. And like science. I think more than anything,
evolving.
Science helps us look into the past a lot in a lot of ways. But like history again it's just based on written records. So it's like and what people have written down, recorded, and. And that's just only limited. You know what I mean? Like we'd only have a certain period of history where people were actually doing that. And so it's like we're limited in scope and limited to certain sources and limited to what we know is actually accurate from those sources based on historical evidence, physical evidence. There's certain things written in myth that, like you're saying, like the Tower of Babel, they're like, man, this could be it. Based on this and this and this, you don't actually know that, but like there's some good evidence to suggest that this might be what they're talking about. You know what I mean? But like you have like you put this stuff together with like physical evidence, and two, when a lot of the times when you get accepted, it's the consensus of the community. People review the evidence, and like you're saying, a lot of the times it takes a while for the community to take shit seriously, and that is a problem. There's a problem within every field. It's like a lot of people are very dismissive.
Yeah, things are just not moving fast enough.
But still, I do think though it's better to err on the side of skepticism. But at the same time, though, like you are right, there's plenty of instances where people are very dismissive of things that. Like may very well be valid, and it's
I mean, like the first guy who said that that we were the center of the solar system, and then we ended up finding out we're not, or like the dude
center of the universe,
the solar system.
Oh yeah.
Or it's just like, oh yeah, you'll fall off.
It was the universe at first, and then we It kind of went from there.
Center of the universe. Yeah.
And then we went from out from that, and then we're like, oh yeah. And then Copernicus, they kind of figured it. He kind of figured it out.
Yeah. Like you always kind of sound crazy before they actually figure out like, oh, he's actually onto something.
Well, yeah, I mean, Copernicus, I think, was persecuted by religious authorities. I mean, maybe we should. You want to talk about next episode? Should we talk about Copernicus?
That'd be cool.
We could.
I don't know too much about him
He's
like
an
that.
Astronomer.
I'll look into him though. I'll look into him.
He's basically like the first astronomer.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, he's a good one to cover. I think he had religious persecution because he was basically like, the Earth's not the center of the universe. Yeah. Because he was noticing the retrograde motion of the planets. So because of the way this planets are all orbiting the sun, because of that, when we look at the planets from Earth, the planets we see them moving, tracking, in one direction, but because they also are orbiting, we'll see them go backwards. And we're also orbiting, so the motion will be tracking it. So what Copernicus was doing is just like every night, just tracking the position of these planets, and as it moved, he noticed that the planets would move backwards sometimes, and then start going back the same direction. He's like, what's going on there? And so because that's called retrograde motion, and because of that, he was able to determine, like, oh yeah, like this, that would happen if they're not orbiting us. Like we wouldn't see that if those were orbiting us. We're not orbiting. Those are not, or we are not the center.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's like that's one of the clues.
Yeah.
So we can talk about him.
Yeah.
And his theories and the shit that he went through, because then from him you got to the guy like Galileo.
Oh yeah.
And then you get like Isaac Newton.
Oh.
He was also he was more of a physicist, but it's still mad. This stuff loads onto it. Astronomy, physics, and the movement of stuff.
I like Da Vinci.
Da Vinci. Yeah, he was more of a. I don't know. He was a kind of a Renaissance man. He was kind of like a painter.
Yeah.
Philosopher, inventor. Kind of had a few things cooking.
He was obsessed with UFOs.
Da Vinci.
He was obsessed with space too.
Leonardo.
Yeah.
Leonardo. Yeah. Well, we'll talk about Copernicus.
You said you don't find like credibility in like astrology, right? Like there's people that believe in it, right? Like there's some people that believe in it, right?
I mean, it's whatever. I mean, it's not like it's like I don't give a shit. Like I'm not like a hater. Like I don't fucking hate it.
Yeah.
I think it's fun.
But it's just we still haven't been able to prove. I think it's like we still haven't been able to prove that it's legit. Like
it's like a fortune cookie to me.
Yeah,
it's like it's fun. It's like I don't fucking But like it's not like I'm like some people like are like, no, it's like I fucking live my life by my heart. It's like no,
yeah.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Would never fucking dream of living my life.
No, I know, yeah. But I'm just saying like
some websites, that's
yeah. But there is people that like, actually like starting to have their beliefs.
Are you a fire sign?
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. Now, some people are crazy about it, but like, yeah. I'm astronomy, like the study of stars. Like, yeah, that's what I'm.
Astronomy.
Like, I like astronomy. Like, I enjoy that for sure, but not really an astrology.
Yeah, that's something else.
Yeah, it's a different thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
The birth chart shit. Anyway, do you want to wrap it up? Are we good? You good?
Good.
Talk about anything else? Talk about anything else? Do we want to talk about anything else? Do we got to talk about this beef, this kind of Kendrick Drake beef?
Whoa. Dude,
it's like already over now.
Dude, my brother was just talking about how like the whole rap game is like so like devilish and satanic and shit. Like it's crazy. It's like I'm like now it makes me feel good. Like 90s rap was the best to me. Like 90s rap is like that's where we had our golden era, and like now this shit gone like downhill to me. Like
yeah, dude, I fucking love some of the 90s.
Like
shit,
now you just hear about dude, he sold his soul for the money and like. It's like
I mean, that's the same old story.
And I just don't like. And nowadays, just the rap, man. It's just different. It's just different, man. I don't like it as much.
It's kind of they accuse sort of like Dr. Dre of doing that. Like,
yeah,
it's like he's kind of like you know, NWA kind of like was the guy that kind of was like the sellout, you know, sold his soul so he could become the top guy, you know.
Damn. So that was even in the 90s they were saying that shit?
Eazy-E. Nah, they weren't saying that in the 90s.
Oh, they're saying it now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know, that kind of seems like it kind of more now.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, like, I mean, you look at it like,
yeah.
But
I think in the 90s they had that real beef. Like they had no time to like be like, oh yeah, like I'm a devil, like all these conspiracies and stuff. Like no, they were actually gangsters. Like
yeah, dude, hit 'em up is like such a fucking crazy ass diss track.
Oh yeah.
Tupac, dude.
Yeah.
First off, fuck your bitch. Just like he just starts like that right out the gate.
Yeah.
Like
they were real, man. They were real back then, bro.
I mean, yeah, they were definitely. It was. I mean, depends like who, but like them, yeah, they obviously fucking died, like doing that shit. You know, there was definitely some reality that hit at a certain point.
Yeah, no, but a lot of guys were like, you know, even if they didn't show it like as much, they were maybe part of the streets, you know, or came from the streets, you know, those rappers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
no, for sure. Like, I mean, you know, like you got DMX. I mean, you know, I don't know where he came from, but he seemed pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
That's a rough rider's roll.
Damn.
Stop.
R.I.P. DMX.
Drop. Shut up loud. Open up. Stop.
Oh shit, dude, those were my gym anthems, bro.
Dude. Yeah.
Those are like the first gym anthems.
Rough Rider. Rough Rider.
Shit, like
where the all's at?
Like, whoa, okay.
Where the all's at?
I'm feeling it.
Have you seen that fucking video? It's like, I don't even know what it is. It's like some fucking like DMX is like he's on drugs, and it's like filmed somewhere. It's just like hanging out. It's like this guy, and the whole time he's just like promoting, like it's like for some video, you know, like video promotion company or something, and he's just like, yo, I'm here with DMX, and DMX like, yeah, he's like all fucking on drugs. It's really kind of sad. Oh shit, bro! It's really kind of fucking sad.
Damn, I didn't see that.
Yeah, no, but it was just
that's sad, man. No, yeah, he had a tough life, man. Or he has, like you said, he had a rough life. He had a rough life.
He was Rough Riders.
Rough Riders. He had a rough life, man. I feel bad, but
yeah, but then you got like, you know, Jay-Z. He had some bangers back in the fucking 90s.
Yeah.
You know, he's always, you know, but that's the one that everyone always points to as being like the most satanic.
Oh, yeah.
I think, you know, right? Because he's like such a what do you call it? Like, you know, he's reclusive. He's like, you don't see, you know, I mean, he's like up in his ivory tower with Beyonce.
Whoa, yeah.
You know, you don't see him that much, you know. He comes out, and when is the last time he released a fucking album?
Right? I don't know. He might have released some, but
he's just like producing shit, I feel like. Beyonce's making country albums, like, who knows?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
that was weird. It was like, I don't know. I don't care. Like, honestly, it's like it was just like funny to me because like I saw a bunch of people. Like, I saw literally nobody talking about her country album besides a few like publications that were like people are upset. And I'm like, who is upset? I haven't seen anybody talking about this. I don't know. Like,
yeah,
weird. It's just shit's so weird these days. Anyway, shit's weird. Shit's weird, bro. That sums up this podcast. Thesis of the podcast. Shit's weird these days.
It's weird.
Anyway, I think that we'll just wrap it up there. If you like this, go give us 5 stars on iTunes and Spotify. Like it on YouTube. Give us a follow. You leave us some comments. You can, you know, write, you know, a manifesto in the comments if you wish. I don't really care. Just, you know, just be nice, guys. Jeez. You see how, like, did I tell you about that one video these people left? It was like on one of the pool videos. The guy, somebody commented, they're just like, audio sucks, angle sucks, everything sucks. I hate this video. I was like, all right.
Jeez.
It's like, thank you for
Tell
watching.
me how you really feel.
I was like, thank you. Appreciate the support.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, just if it's not to your taste, you don't have to say that. I mean, who am I to stop you? You know, unload your bullshit on me for fuck's sake. I don't care. I'll be your therapist for now.
Nah.
BetterHelp.com. I'm just kidding. They don't sponsor us. Don't go there. Yeah, so that's it. That's it for this week. And thanks for listening.